What if Deku had a tech jacket? Part 1. Let's dive into it. So, we start our story off with Izuku Midoriya. As all my what ifs start with mainly Izuku Midoriya in his My Hero universe. We start off with his character. As we all know, Izuku was a very heroic character. A very, I guess you could say, selfless individual that only thinks about the betterment of other people and barely takes what he wants in return. So we start off with Izuku's childhood, and we get a real good rundown of him as a person. And in this universe, in this continuity, Izuku's father actually wouldn't be working overseas. Izuku's father is actually a business owner with his mother. Him and his mother, or basically Deku's father and mother, his parents, are working as pretty much, I guess you could say, a department store. Not department store, but more of a technology store. Kind of one of those pawn shops or one of those handy stores you go to get parts for a machine, a washer, dryer, or even a car part. So Izuku was working here part-time, and we get switched to Darku's childhood and all this other unconventional stuff because we all know Izuku's story and what happens. But in this continuity, in this fan fiction, in these in this multitude of different possibilities, different multiverses, and different transactions of fate that can happen. In this universe, something happens that changes the trajectory of every other character's life, and especially Izuku's life as well. Now, this small change to the original story with Izuku's parents being business owners will have a huge role in Deku's life and his, well, like I could say, effectivency in this world. So Deku will grow up admiring heroes, actually loving them, wanting to be one himself. But when Deku was told the heart-wrenching truth that he's quirkless, he was in beyond destroyed. He felt like he was less than. So Izuku automatically went into the one thing he had, the one thing he always had, his brain. Deku was incredibly smart, or even too smart for his own good. Being surrounded by technology and all these other advancements and parts, he would have made incredible things. Basically being like a young Tony Stark, or more or less a young Ironheart, making incredible technology out of nothingness. Him actually wanting to be a hero, but also wanting to be a quirk specialist with enhanced technology. Basically, simple, wanted to make support gear for heroes, but also wanted to make a support gear to help him succeed into becoming a hero. But with him saying all this, Izuku's dreams would never came to fruition. Izuku's technology always went haywire because he didn't have the right materials, and through that, Deku wanted to get a job and put his life towards making technology a suit that can give a normal person, a quirkless person, a chance to become maybe even the greatest hero on Earth. So Izuku set out to make that. Izuku set out to do just that thing. But through all that, the same thing would have happened. Bakugo would have relentlessly tormented and bullied Deku the same. With Deku still being the frail little kid he is, not really focusing on physical labor, mainly focusing on his smarts, Izuku would have been top of his class, but at the same time being, well, tormented, bothered, bullied, and so just tortured. I mean, I already said tortured. Basically being treated like shit, to put it simple, by Bakugo. Even worse than an original canon. Izuku would have despised Bakugo, but him having a kind heart, him being Izuku Midoriya, he wouldn't wish ill on Bakugo. He would have wanted to still be friends with him. He would have wanted to still be friends. At the end of the day, because Izuku had known him his whole life. They're childhood friends. They know each other. But Bakugo tells him to stop wanting or stop dreaming about being a hero because he'll never be that. You're just a quirkless wannabe. Don't get hurt. So he walks away. And looking back at this, I really think Bakugo was trying to look out for Deku's betterment because let's be real, Bakugo, he didn't want his friend that's quirkless to get his head high and get killed on the battlefield if he did possibly get into a situation where he had to become a hero and get murked on sight because Deku's quirk. There's nothing he can really do to save, dodge, or even catch a bullet. Most people that are quirked up are even strong enough to be heroes. So if Deku even had a quirk, there's no real telling if he would actually even be a hero. So that's Bakugo's understanding. Bakugo would have told Deku to stop dreaming about his ambitions and would have blown up his notebook. His notebook having sketches and ideas of different, pretty much suit designs he wanted to make. But with all those, well, numbers, calculations, all other stuff being blown away, Deku was furious. But him letting it go and walking back home and trying to memorize all the stuff he did write down in his notebook. But when he was walking home, he would have heard a crashing wind tidal, kind of a sound barrier. He thinking it was All Might because All Might ran around this area a few times, and when he jumped, it was kind of like a wind crusher or like a sound barrier being broken. But Deku would have looked up, seeing a fiery red or some sort of orb glaze the sky, cutting the clouds in two. We get switched away from Izuku's story, him seeing this weird kind of ship thing glaze through the sky, cutting through a multitude of clouds, landing near the far side around, well, Japan. So we see that Izuku's father and mother are actually getting in some bad business. Izuku's father, Asashi, starts to try to talk to these gang members that just barged up into their house, or, well, mainly their business, because they live on the top floor of their business, kind of like, a deli or something like that. They live on top of their store. So we see that Asashi tries to reason with the men, trying to tell them that we have the money, you just gotta give us more time. We're not going to wait for you, Asashi. Our boss wants his money now. You made a deal, you gotta keep up the end of your bargain. Asashi tries to reason with the man, but at the end of the day, they hit him, beat him around, and also beat around Inko. And they're both kind of bloodied up, and they were told by tomorrow night they better have their money or we're taking both of their lives, and maybe even go after that little son of yours. They walk out of the store, pretty much shattering the door when they leave, messing up the place a little bit, and then walking off. Asashi's scared as Inko tells him that we need to leave now. We can't stay here. Asashi tells her that we can't leave. I can get the money now, okay? We have some saved up. And she says, no, we don't. We have that saved up for Zuku's college fund. Well, Zuku won't be able to go to college if he's dead. So Inko and Asashi try to figure out what to do. But away from that more graphic description of Izuku's parents' lives and what it will mean for the future of this fanfiction or of this universe, we get switched back to Izuku. Izuku's walking down, trying to find out where that crash site was, him being a little bit of a curious type of bug, as he would have been walking to the far side, about a few blocks away out of the city area, because his family would have been living on the outskirts of the city, well, kind of in the city. It's kind of like in between. It's a solid like 20 to 30 minute walk into the far side of Japan from where they are at. So Izuku walks near the woodland area of Japan and starts to walk around, seeing a multitude of trees and different branches being burnt, broken in two, and just cut in two. Him seeing fragments of charred up metal and steel on the floor being as hot as, well, hot as the sun, them being burning hot, maybe even causing some fires then and there. Izuku uses his jacket, taking it off his back, and starts to try to pat down the fire, not trying to have a forest fire start. He sees a man or a green looking person on the ground. Assuming with the world of quirks and how multiple people look different, Izuku assumes that this is some sort of quirkless guy that maybe was messing around with his quirk and maybe got a little bit too hammered and pretty much seen him on the ground. So Izuku runs over there trying to talk to the man, but the man tells him to back away now. Izuku says, no, you need my help. You need to get up. Okay, I'll help you. It's a hospital around here somewhere. I can get you some help, okay? The man sees Izuku's good nature and the jacket, the technology on the man's armor, or whatever the man's wearing, senses that Deku is a good candidate, and he wants to bond with him. The man is on his last leg, and the man, or this thing, is dying. So the Green Man tells Izuku that with great power comes a lot of torment, a lot of age, a lot of pain, a lot of anger, but I feel like you can understand and you can thrive to be the greatest, the best of us all. Izuku's confused, saying, "What are you talking about? Let me just get you to the hospital, okay?" As Izuku notices that the armor on the man's body starts to liquefy, but also demineralize and jump onto Izuku's body like a symbiote. The armor starts to rearrange itself around Izuku's body, making some sort of tech vest around his whole structure, his torso. Izuku's confused and kind of freaking out what the hell's going on, but the armor envelops Deku's body after the ship behind him, aka in front of the Green Man, blows up. The man is completely disintegrated, along with a lot of the other technology and more important bits of the ship as well. It causes a huge tidal wave shockwave, and some pro heroes around the area try to figure out what's going on and they make their descent over there. Asuku sees this and kind of runs away, not trying to get blamed for something like this. Azuku just noticed or witnessed a guy get disintegrate in front of him. Azuku seen that guy get literally disintegrated, then the shockwave of the explosion blasting him off into a nearby tree. Azuku runs off as he sees that Azuku eventually finds his way basically to his house. Azuku finds this armor around his body, trying to rip it off, but as he's trying to rip it off and pull it off as he's on his way to school, actually, this is like a morning. This is morning time. This is morning time area, like right around. Because I don't know when school starts in Japan, but let's just say it's safe to say like around like maybe like 7 o'clock, maybe 8. So this would be around like 6 o'clock in the morning, and Azuku is completely confused by this, trying to pull it off his body, trying to rip it off his person, but he starts to notice the technology and what fine craftsmanship this armor is made out of. And is kind of impressed, but also kind of scared because he doesn't know what the hell this thing came from, and he just witnessed a guy get disintegrated and killed. But what happened is the armor would have told Deku in an AI voice that the suit armor will not come off, and it never will come off. Asuka being confused and completely shocked, saying, "What do you mean?" As the armor is more of a, I guess for the voice, I guess for you guys to imagine, the AI voice is kind of like the AI generated voice for like the Dexter theme song. If you know that one, you know that one. Or like when they say the Invincible War, like you know that yeah, that TikTok. Yeah, I know you what I know you know what I'm saying. I know what you know. I know you know what I'm saying. But but what happens is Izuku is being told that the suit of armor is bonded to him. Izuku being completely confused by this, but nonetheless, Izuku just kind of tries to get over it and tries to get through his school day and pass by. Now, this is like the next day because Izuku walking back to his house. Oh, the fucking Christ! I'm sorry, guys. Like the plotting is kind of weird because I have to explain this a little bit better. My scripting is bad. So yeah, earlier Izuku got his notebook burnt up by Bakugo after a school day. Izuku had been walking back home with his notebook. We can switch the next day. Izuku walking to school with his notebook still kind of burnt up and seeing the fiery explosion happen. That would happen right around the first bell of school. So this is the next day. This is the next day. Azuki got the tech jacket, blah 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 blah, and the whole like thing with the store owners and Azuku's parents. That would have happened the night before this would have happened. So Azuku was sound asleep when this happened, or when the store cloners or like Azuku's parents got pretty much beefed out of some money. So yeah. So this is second. This is second day. This is second day. Okay, this is second day. It's a Saturday. So no, not Saturday. It's a Friday. It's still a school day. So Azuku gets to the day of school and tries to just overcome what the hell is going on. But he gets back home and he sees the store door cracked open, worse than yesterday. Deku kicks down the door and looks over and sees that his family is basically getting like straight up pummeled. It's like the back area, like the backyard of the store, and Deku sees that the men are straight up just pummeling the shit out of his dad and is about to just do some heinous things to his mom.
What?
But what would happen is doing this whole debacle, Azuku would have wanted to help his parents. Him having this urge to help them, and the suit would have noticed this. It would have picked up on Izuku's brain waves and brain activity and his thoughts, as it would have gave Deku the suit, or not the suit, but a piece of technology to pretty much ward off the guys. His suit transforming his arm into a cannon, blasting one of the other dudes through the wall and knocking him out cold, and also making some sort of weird whip machine that pretty much shoot projectiles that electrocute the other dude. So both of these guys are knocked out cold, cooked. So they call the police. These guys get taken in, and actually they can't call the police. They're in some bad stuff. So very simple. The guys are thrown out by Deku, and the other guy that was electrocuted wakes up saying that we're not done here, as they grab the other dude and they get out of there pronto. Thinking the kid has a quirk, knowing that their boss did extensive work on these guys or on this family, and the son is supposed to not have a quirk. So they're kind of suspicious of this. Now, with this whole debacle, Deku's father immediately thinks Azuku developed some sort of quirk or some sort of ability. Now, with this newfound power, Azuku's father wants to experiment with it and wants to help Azuku out with his ability. So, what happens is Azuku and his father make their way to a nearby camp area on the outskirts of Japan. It's a little bit different from where they went to when Deku was a kid, but to put it simple, Azuku and his father start to train out. Now they train in between Degyo Beach and this cabin area, but mainly around Degyo Beach. As Degyo Beach is pretty messed up and not many people go there since there's so many trash, pieces of metal, and just all sorts of scraps around this area. Azuku starts to pretty much mess with the technology and pretty much toy around with his armor, making multiple different constructions or pretty much configurations of his suit, using blasters, swords, melee attacks, even making his hands into big giant mallets. Azuku basically testing out his suit kind of like a Blue Beetle uses his suit, just making a multitude of different suit appendages, even making bionicle arms like Iron Spider, and just messing around with his armor, trying to figure out its capabilities and its limits. Azuku has not found any single limit to his suit so far, him picking up multitude of giant pieces of metal scraps, kicking around fridges like they're nothing, ripping apart old messed up cars, and just really just putting his body to the limit. Azuku with this train, this would have been about it would have been about 2 weeks so far, as Azuku's body would have started to feel different changes. Now, yet again, Deku wasn't ripped, but he would see that his body was getting used to the armor, and the armor was actually speeding up Azuku's, body functions. Not to a point where it would speed up his aging, but it basically made his body, or started to try to modify his body to its peak level of physicality, slowly but surely. Azuku noticing this, as he would have seen his body start to define abs and his back starting to get more broader. Now, the night before everything would have happened, the night before everything would have changed, is when Azuku would have been walking with his father to the car after them doing a little bit of training in the camp area. As they would have been to walk back, as Azuki would have been hit with a blast of lightning by some sort of other armored man, getting shot through a tree, being knocked out cold. Azuku would have looked up before he fainted or passed out, as the man would have grabbed Azuku and said that you're under arrest for the murder of Kaoru. As they get out of there immediately, and Deku's father is in complete distraught, as these guys in armor just grabbed their son and flew off. So, after that, Azuku wakes up and seeing himself binded or latched onto a wall. Azuku opens his eyes, and the second he opens his eyes, a huge blast of wind and pressure break through the ship he's in. Seeing the stars outside of the hall or outside of the pretty much cell he's in, Azuku holds his breath, but the suit in time notices how Deku's body is and how his body isn't prepared to withstand the vacuum of space. So his body automatically, or his suit automatically, makes a complete armored suit to help him survive the vacuum of space, making his first appearance as the tech jacket armor. Deku seeing this, and he is completely in shock, but also feels strong, powerful. More powerful than he's been the last few days. He's been trained with parts of the suit, but not the whole thing. The last time he was able to unlock the full capabilities of the suit was when the explosion went off to protect him from being burnt to a crisp. So Zuko flies out of the suit, or flies out of the ship, and looks as he sees his, well, competitors or armored people that took him in get overwhelmed by attacks of bigger and more violent looking people in armor similar to their armor, but a lot more clunkier. They would have been kind of losing the fight, as Azuku was about to fly off, but him not knowing where he was, but yet again, him being a good person, not wanting to just let them get manhandled and killed out here, Azuku knowing that they put him under arrest as far as he remembers from getting knocked out cold, but Azuku knows that this isn't the right thing to just leave them to fend for themselves. He wants to be a hero, and this is a good way to start. Azuku puts two together, being in space, having some sort of armor on his body that he found from the sky. Azuku obviously figures out that it's a freaking aliens. Azuku tries to nerd out a little bit, but knowing that he had to lock in, Deku flies over there and just torpedoes through one of the other aliens. I mean, torpedoes through them. Just he starts to kind of get confused by why it was so easy, but Deku starts to fly around, shooting a multitude of electricity bolts, or lightning bolts, plasma beams, and a bunch of other stuff, making a huge, like, cloud-type sword, cutting through one of the guys vertically. Azuka starts to fly around, as he eventually takes down all of the guys with minimal to no effort, as he stops in front of the guys, unbinding his sword, or pretty much unmaking the armor, or unmaking the pretty much tech he used to take down these guys, as he surrenders, saying that, I know you guys want to arrest me, I just had to help you out. So they see this act of courageousness, knowing that Azuku really could have just flew off and did his own thing, and then not knowing that Azuku did not know where the hell he was, and he had no way to get him back home. So they take him to their planet, home planet Galdoria. Sorry guys, my door's messing up. But what happened? Them going to planet Galdoria, or him going or being taken to their home planet, Azuka would have seen a sight he never would have possibly imagined. Seeing big pillars of technology, giant structures of buildings that he could possibly even imagine to be made, even for his standard of living. And him being in the heart of Japan with his new technological advancements, with the invention or the discovery of quarks, Azuka would have seen the pure amount of just fastness and how much more advanced they were than us, and being in pure awe. He would have been introduced to their leader and being told that his tech jacket belonged to one of their greatest warriors. But with this, they assumed he was one of the persons that murdered their friend and took the tech jacket. But seeing your nashness, your powerful ability, being able to take down those foes with minimal to no effort, we now understand that you are more powerful than we could possibly imagine. And yet you can never even take the armor. You have to be bonded with it. And nobody in our nation has bonded with the tech jacket as powerful and as pure as you have. Azuku being kind of flattered, but saying that, so this is Galdoria. It's an alien planet, and I took the armor of your messiah. He says, not that. I know what messiah means to you humans, but you didn't take it. It bonded with you, Azuku Midoriya. The suit already told me your name when you were out, and we did a lot of investigation on you when you were knocked out in the, well, ship. The ship's data frame and pretty much cloud is always linked up to the main planet. But Azuka Midoriya, it's safe to say that you could help us win the tide of the war. Azuka being confused, saying, what do you mean? We see that another comrade by the name of Sparka walks over to Izuku, handshaking him, saying that we met. I was on that shot you with the lightning. Sorry about that, but we kind of did assume that you killed one of our friends. So Izuku says no, it's okay, as he handshakes the guy, saying, "So your name is it's Midoriya. Midoriya is my name." As he says, "My name's Zaka." So they look over to each other as they smile, using a little bit of friendly gestures to each other. Now they walk around Galdoria, and Deku just sees the peacefulness and the prosperity they have on their planet. It looks beautiful. Azuku looks over to them, saying, "So you're in a war." They explain the tide of the war, how this alien race came to their planet and is more or less overthrowing them or trying to take advantage of them. They already have superior technology advancements to the other species, but they use the species' lack of physical power to overthrow them. That's why we made the tech jackets. That's why we became these armored individuals. But with the tech jackets, there's almost so much we can do. The war is becoming stagnant. We're at a standstill. But with your power and how my soldiers and my veterans tell me, you were incredible in the battlefield. You took out a multitude of all of them with minimal to no effort. Azuku saying, "Well, thank you, but that's my first fight I had." The armor tells him that he automatically has had a little bit of training with his father. He didn't know it yet, but his father, well, Azuku's father, trained Izuku how to fight, but he never actually got in a fight. Izuku knows how to fight, but let's be real. Izuku never had an option or a chance to fight because Bakugo always hit him with explosions. So yeah, but Izuku knows a little bit of karate and some boxing, just beginner level boxing though, because his father tried to teach him how to fight, but Deku didn't really show too much interest in it. So that's what happened. But Izuku tries to talk to them and goes over to the leader and tries to talk to him about the technology in the suit and how advanced it is. They have a little bit of a science mumbo jumbo talk as the leader immediately realizes that Deku was incredibly smart and he already knows how the armor works in some capabilities or in some form or fashion, and he's kind of impressed. He asks Izuku, "Can you help us win this war? And if you're willing, could you help us beat and win our planet back?" Izuku, knowing that is the right thing, knowing that he has the power to save a planet, to stop a war, to save millions of billions of lives, he absolutely says yes. As Izuku is a hero, down to the bone, Izuku is a true person, true of heart, real heroism. As Izuku tells him he definitely will help and that he'll be more than happy to. Izuku immediately goes on the train with the best soldiers of their planet, and Izuku starts to see that he's way above any of their leagues. The soldiers are surprised that he just blasts through all of their tests with flying colors with minimal to no effort. Izuku being trained on his physical body and his mental state as well. Deku being the smartest one there, being at the same level as the smartest technology mind on Galdoria, them being impressed by Izuku's smartness and, well, intelligence in general. Izuku showing how smart, how cutting, and how quick thinking he is on the battlefield as well. Us getting a montage of him on the battlefield, winning countless wars or battles against these alien invaders, and eventually getting his name as one of the best warriors on Galdoria, getting a badge of honor as well. After this whole months of warfare and Deku taking down all these alien technologies and alien invaders, Izuku having his body more toned and defined and having his body basically made into a weapon besides the tech jacket, Deku had the same physique he had with All Might, but a little bit more perfected and mainly built more for durability than power, because his body was made to take hits even if the armor couldn't take him for him. So Izuku was pretty durable, or honestly, as durable as a kickboxer that can take at least like 40 blows to the freaking noggin and not get knocked out or get collared collar ears or collar green ears or whatever they're called. So yeah, so Deku was pretty advanced now more than ever. Azuku having his body tamed and toned and having him be more experienced with the tech jacket, winning countless battles with it. Azuku had a lot more use with the tech jacket since the tech jacket had a lot more capabilities, a lot more powerful technologies hidden within it, and a lot more capabilities that Deku didn't even scratch the surface with the battles he won. The war is still going, but they won countless wars, countless battles, and is about to win the all be all war with these alien invaders. So they didn't need Azuku anymore. And Azuku wanting to go back to Earth, as he didn't know how long he was away from Earth since they had a different time zone. As so far as Azuku being gone, it would have been a couple weeks, around like a month tops, to Deku's time frame. As Deku walks off, telling them that he is so proud to help them and is grateful that he's able to keep the armor. They say they are grateful that he helped them and that he earned this armor. He gets sent back onto Earth with a ship and flies back to Earth. He finds himself back on planet Earth, landing his ship near the same cabin area he was taken away from, and he looks at the cabin. The cabin looks desolate and kind of just overthrown by pretty much just overthrown by wildlife. Raccoons in the living room and the house just pretty much ruined asunder. Azuku finds himself flying back to his old house or back to the store, the tech store they owned. His family had, owned for years, his whole life. He flies down and sees that it's ran down. He looks at the note and sees that the month is completely different. Deku's been gone for 6 months, almost a year. Deku is confused by this, looking around, saying that, like, what month is it? The man tells him that nice armor, weirdo, but it's like almost December time, brother. As he walks away, as you could being confused. Actually, I'm just insert that month for the month that the entrance exams happen, because I don't even know what the month happened, what month it was when the entrance exams happened in My Hero, but nonetheless, we see that Azuku walks into the old store, breaking the chains that hold the doors together. He walks over and sees all the stores and everything just knocked over, destroyed, and some of the part of the buildings burnt. He walks over and is just in pure disarray. Seeing that his parents packed up and left. Assuming with the gang members that came over here, he assumes the worst, maybe they're dead. But him knowing his father, he assumes that they just ran off or went on the run. Because, well, they were being chased down by a bunch of mobsters. So the only thing they could do is run. So what happens is Azuku makes his way to sleep. He sleeps on a makeshift bed with a blanket on the top floor in his room, on top of the store, and he hears a knock on the door, or more of a crush on the door, as the door gets kicked in, and Deku wakes up in a fright and looks over and sees these 3 men, all bulky, one of them skinny, looking towards Azuku saying, "So you're Azuku Midoriya. You've been gone for months, kid. Where's your parents? Our boss still wants his money. Your parents took over thousands, or maybe even over millions of dollars from our boss for their little business here." Azuku gets up saying, "Do you know where my parents are?" Him saying, "If we knew that, why would we come after you, kid?" Well, we would come after you if we even if we did know who they were or where they went. We would still come after you. Your leverage, kid. He snaps his fingers as the 2 bigger men try to rush towards Azuku. Azuku armors up as the other man, knowing what Azuku did to him last time, stops immediately as the other man charges towards Azuku, not really caring, as he has some sort of, strength boosting and endurance quirk. But it wouldn't help him in this situation, as Deku takes out a blade and stabs the man in his shoulder, kicking the man into a nearby pillar in the house, knocking him out cold. Azuku winning multiple battles, going up against alien invaders twice the size of any human on planet Earth, around the same size as All Might, even maybe even bigger. He knows how to handle fights like this. But to put it simple, these alien invaders, all they had was technology and superhuman strength. They didn't have any extreme, crazy quirks like this other dude. This other dude pulls out a huge array of magnetic powers, as he says that my abilities, I can control small magnet type appendages. But no, listen, he has Magneto's powers, but on a very small scale. He can only control like knives, bullet shells, guns, just other things that are handhold. He can't like push a car or grab a person or anything like that. He tries to grab Deku's suit, but Deku's suit is made out of a specific type of armor that's not from this world, that has a different magnetical pull to it than anything else. So it's unmagnetized to anything on Earth, at least. So he tries to rush towards Izuku with a multitude of bullet shells and a bunch of other stuff, but Deku just tanks it with minimal ease and swats the guy in the arm, knocking his arm like out of socket. The man screams out in pain as Deku uppercuts him, sending him through the sky on top of the roof. Izuku sees the other dude. The other dude tries to shoot him with a blast of fire, as Izuku dodges out of the way and is kind of surprised by this, not really noticing that this guy has some sort of cool quirk like that or an emitter quirk like that. So Izuku not really dealing with any type of crazy powers other than technology that can shoot lightning beams and plasma beams and alien invaders that were as strong as freaking tanks. Izuku looks over and uses a type of new trick he's been trying to perfect on his way back to Earth. He would have shot a huge blast of sonic propulsion waves, or pretty much a sonic boom, making a grenade out of thin air, throwing it, making a sonic boom, Deku rushing through the sonic waves, or basically rushing as the guy is disorientated, and body slamming him down to the ground, and pretty much leg sweeping him as well, grabbing the guy from the pretty much palm of the throat, or like pretty much grabbing him by his base of his throat and knocking him down to the ground, knocking both of them down through the ground into the store, knocking the dude clean out. Dude having a few broken bones in there. He looks over and sees the other dude he knocked out, as he wakes him up and tells him to take him to their boss. He drives Izuku to their boss's headquarters and walks into the room. He looks at the boss and says, "Where are my parents? I know you know where they are." As the man says, "Well, I hate to break it to you, kid, but I don't know where the hell your parents are. But with the help of my crew, I could make you a deal. Maybe you can pay off their debts with your newfound ability, huh, kid?" Deku getting pissed, saying, "Where are my f***ing parents?" Izuku getting pissed off, as the man says, "What? You blew some balls when you were gone? Kid, I know exactly who you are. And I had people watching you. You were bullied. You were treated like shit. And now, since you've been gone for a few months, you think you're a hot shot? What did you even do with those powers, huh? Just because you have a court doesn't mean you're a man." Azuka saying, "What makes me a man is the thing that I fought in wars. I took down alien invaders, and I've been a hero before I can even become a kid." As Izuku looks over to the man, as the man says, "Have you been smoking or some shit? What the hell are you on?" Izuku shoots him with a huge plasma ball, as the man gets knocked down through his desk into the floor. Then Deku jumps on the man, Spider-Man style, grabs him by the throat, and tells him, "Where are my parents?" as he conjures up a sword and is about to slice this man's head clean off. The man says, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know." As the man starts to cry, as Izuku getting kind of, well, just looking at himself in the mirror, seeing that he became something he didn't want to become. Him fighting all those wars, him being in all those battles, him taking down multiple alien invaders. Izuku didn't want to become a soldier. He didn't want to be a weapon of destruction. He wanted to be a hero. And he was that. But some days, some battles, he was more than a hero. He was a weapon. Izuku unleashes a huge yell, just yelling out his heart, as he flies off into the sunset or into the moonlight, flying down to a nearby cabin area that he went with his grandfather when he was younger. He lands down there and is not expecting anyone to be there, but he finds someone behind him. A man with white hair looking at him saying, Azuku, is that you? Azuku tears up seeing his grandfather and runs over to him and hugs him, saying that I've missed you. Where are mom and dad? Where are they? As the man or Deku's grandfather says, I don't know where they are, Azuku. Really don't know. Azuku is kind of just sad as we see a flyer pass by Azuku's head, and Azuku grabs it, looks at it, and sees a date and time for the My Hero entrance exams. And I'm gonna leave it off here, guys. So if you guys enjoyed the video, click like and subscribe. And as always, guys, have a blessed day. Deuces.